Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do a review of Soul Eater by Atsushi Ohkubo. Um, this is a 25 volume series released by Yen Press um, about a school that trains meisters who wield people that turn into weapons. The main character is Maka and her weapon partner Soul. Um, It is basically a shonen battle manga with really, really cool artwork, lots of boobs, and witches and that kind of stuff. I watched the anime for Soul Eater originally way back in the day. I do own actually 25 episodes of it, but always wanted to read the manga. Yen Press being what it is, the price is quite expensive. Never got around to buying it. And then during a sale that Chapters was having, I decided to just go for it and buy the rest of it. I had bought Volume 3 because it has Death the Kid on it, who's my favorite character, um, when it came out, and never picked up any other volumes of the series. But I found randomly volumes 9, 10, and 11 used for $1 each. I then had 4 out of 25 volumes and went, okay, I guess it's time to get the rest of it and actually read the series. So the anime ends around volume 9, and then it makes up its own ending. So from volume 9 onward is new content. So I was super excited. I reread like all of the stuff that I had already seen in the anime, and then proceeded to read on in the story. I was a bit surprised. I had heard that the ending isn't that like the last bit kind of tapers off and people didn't like it as much. With a 25 volume series, I had never invested that much in anything. All of my series that I own to completion are much shorter than that. Anything else that's longer than that, I never purchased the entire thing. I usually just read from the library or something. But Soul Eater, I was pretty confident that I would enjoy, and I'm glad I picked up all of it because I really, really enjoyed reading it. The art just gets better and better as it goes along, and it was such a fun ride. And I read it quite quickly, actually. I was surprised. I thought I would get bored, but I managed to read it only in a couple of weeks. So I thought I would just like completely not be interested anymore and then end up having all these volumes on my shelf that I wouldn't be able to finish. Um, it just gets so cool looking. Like, that is amazing. The art is so wicked. By the end of it, I am just quite blown away by how much I really ended up enjoying this series. The characters are kind of what drives it. I'm not a fantasy guy. I don't really like fantasy stuff all that much. Um, it's okay, but it's not really my thing. So I don't care much about the witches and all of that stuff. But the battles are cool. The characters are absolutely hysterically funny. I know some people find them annoying. Um, I honestly find it to be really hysterically funny. I found myself laughing out loud on many, many occasions. Yes, the fart jokes are funny. I find them funny. I find the butt jokes funny. I find the boob jokes funny. Like, it's just, and it's so not like me to find that stuff funny, but for some reason, this series just works for me. Um, yeah, like, it's very childish humor, but I can't help but laugh uncontrollably at it, and I don't know why. Because I don't like a lot of shonen series, and I don't like that kind of humor usually. But I find this to be hysterically funny, and I think that just the cool artwork adds to it, and the kind of darkness to it. Um, yeah, like I usually don't like fan service and that kind of humor and whatever, but this series really, really works for me. I I love it. Um, and if anybody's read this and knows this character, Excalibur, lots of people hate him. I can't help but laugh anytime he's in a panel. I just, I don't know what it is. I think that this series, if you like character driven stories with characters that you're going to get to see grow and change and confront their own demons and their own weaknesses and learn their strengths and learn how to use those to their advantage. This is a great series. Over these 25 volumes, you really, really see these characters grow and change. And I don't really know. I don't think the timeline is that long, honestly, on this series in the world. But over the course of what's happening, the seriousness of the problem that the city, Death City, is facing, the problem that the world is facing here, is so great that these characters have to grow up fast. They have to be good at what they're doing. And it forces them to really, really mature and focus when really they're high school students and they don't necessarily have to or want to do that. But yeah, this is a great series for character development, I think. I'm sure some people would disagree with me, but I found it to be really, really captivating and really, really fun to read. So definitely, definitely recommend checking this out. I would suggest probably either buying the first volume and trying it out, or like read a couple chapters online just to see if you like it. I wouldn't invest in the entire series blindly, because if you don't like the humor and you don't like the characters and don't think they're funny or likable, you're not going to like this series at all. Yeah, I think it's a good one to test out first, but because I had watched the anime and actually loved it so much, I knew going into this what I was getting into, and therefore knew I was going to enjoy it. But if you have never had anything to do with Soul Eater, I wouldn't suggest just buying a chunk of the volumes without knowing anything about it, unless you get a really good deal on them. But the art is cool, the characters are funny, the action is really cool and easy to follow. Sometimes action series, the way that it's drawn isn't easy to see what's happening, but I find this one to be quite clear as to what is going on. Yeah, and each character has a very different fighting style, which I really enjoyed, because you get pumped up and you get excited to see like Black Star being cool and using his certain style of fighting versus Maka, who's got a scythe, um, and Death the Kid, who uses his guns, his pistols. Um, yeah, it's just cool, and I really, really love it, and I definitely recommend checking it out. I haven't checked out Atsushi Ohkubo's new series, Fire Force, but after finishing Soul Eater, I think I have to, because I really, really resonate with this guy's humor. The one thing I will say, the excessive swearing, not a fan of. There's certain characters who are extremely vulgar, um, and it's not my kind of humor. That's the one thing that didn't resonate with me, is that kind of humor. Everything else I found hysterically funny, but the vulgarity and just the excessive swearing, it's not funny to me, and I just found it annoying, to be honest. But that's only one or two characters that act that way. But yeah, that got under my skin anytime the one character, specifically one of the villains, was talking. He just was so vulgar it wasn't even funny. But other than that, that's my only complaint here. Um, yeah, and I think 25 volumes, honestly, I thought at first it was going to be way too long, but once you get reading it, the story just flows and you enjoy the whole way through. Um, yeah, and the spines look so great together, as you can probably tell. It goes from, the standard what it is to a bit darker, and then the last volume is light, and it's got this cool silvery spine to it. Yeah, it's just a really cool series that I definitely recommend you checking out. If you have any questions about it, or you've read it and you want to chat about it in the comments, definitely do so, and I'd be happy to engage in that conversation. Thanks for watching. See ya.